Hello, a midweek video here. I've been reading a lot of good comments on the Corporate Social Responsibility Sustainability Forum and mirror, the Bandag Factory comments. Just some thoughts come to mind that are easier for me to talk about than it is to post them. So I'll just get going on this. Lots of good comments on the corporate social responsibility. I think everyone has the general feel for that from the reading or their own experience. I'd also throw in there that consider the size of the corporation. Many people are familiar with Deere and such. There are many more smaller, much smaller companies. So again, some of this corporate social responsibility does deal with resources and how you deploy those. And I can assure you, whether it's big or small, whatever volunteerism, community activities, paying employees to participate, there is a financial value assigned to these that companies do take advantage of on their income statements. So this is not just a freebie that I'm going to let people go out and spread my good name and help, which I really want to do. But if I'm paying them to do this, I'm investing something in this. I'm assigning a value, more or less monetarily, and somehow that's going to, I consider that a benefit to my company. I talked about the triple bottom line. Many people have mentioned how hard it is to assign value to some of those activities and the things that we incorporate in there. Let's say in undertaking something as CSR, if the view from the top man, it's a priority for them, it will definitely be easier to move in that direction. If this is ideas of a CSR kind of bubbling up from the lower levels, I think that there's probably more involved in making a move forward. Maybe a return on investment calculation, some feel for evaluation monetarily. Uh, how are you going to convince the boss, the company's owner, the board of directors that we should be doing this? These things usually come out looking like cost, and the key is to transform that cost into a benefit. Many people have talked about Deere, DHL. There's a video on Patagonia. Please look at that. And also look at the bottom of the Patagonia website. There's many links on sustainability. And if you go far enough in the right direction, you'll find some interesting things. If you didn't know it, washing and drying blue jeans, dungarees, is probably one of the most non-ecological things that you might do. The amount of energy required to dry those jeans is pretty large. So take a look at that. I mean, drying them on the line, letting them out as well as any of your other laundry. But this is just one of those things about minimizing energy, minimizing your carbon footprint. And they also say that when you collect the lint out of the dryers, that that's just your clothes deteriorating. So maybe the dryer is not the best way. We ought to be looking for something else. Another website I suggest you visit is HNI in Muscatine, Han Corporation. Their goals, their strategy, their mission statement, very well written, very well implemented, very well communicated to the employees. So I offer that for your consideration. A couple people talked about changing the culture, CSR. We talk about the Bandag Factory shifting from teams to from supervisors. That's a big change. A lot of people got to buy into that. People don't like change. They're comfortable in their hierarchies, and over time, if you cannot convince them to get on board with the new ideas, then maybe it's time to change the riders on the bus and move the culture to where you want it to be. But in doing that, I would also say that the top level management needs to communicate to all levels of the company what the goals are. Make sure everyone understands what they are and what their part is in them. I mean, if you were to go to a production worker on the floor and ask him what the company goal was, and if he could tell you what it was, could he tell you what he does each day in support of that goal? Can you specify, put into words what you do each day in support of the company and the published goals that may be posted on a board, put on the website? Uh, Communication in these areas is not the best for a lot of companies. You put out high-level thoughts, hoping that they'll take hold, and it doesn't always happen without some training, some help. So I offer that for you. One person talked about the pay and reward system at the Bandag. Thought just came to mind is that pay, while it's an HR type priority and strategy, you ought to pay for the right behaviors. Don't pay for the wrong things, or put in an incentive program that encourages wrong behaviors, such as encouraging truck drivers to make more routes and make their schedules and be on time to get a bonus. Well, on the contrary to that is if it's bad weather, the truck breaks down, what are they going to do to continue to make their bonus? So they're going to start moving into the unsafe category of driving, driving too tired, poor equipment. So again, reward systems should reward the proper behaviors. And I talked about the blue jeans with the Patagonia there. And under sustainability, we look at not only the company operating in such a fashion that the profits will support the company and the business plan will help the company endure, but that the products that we make minimal impact on the environment. And for this, we would like to take more of a very high level look and not just look at what materials start at the beginning of the factory and what comes out the end of the factory. I want to go back to the source, where those materials come from. What's the cost of transporting those materials? What's the cost of processing those materials into something that the factory can use? And at the other end, does it end up in a landfill? Can it be recycled? Can it be reused? Can someone else use it? Don't want to fill up the landfills. So what do we do with those types of things? How do we look at that? How do we measure it? One of those things that comes to mind that's kind of a bad product is your coffee Keurig cups. Those little K-cup, plastic K-cups, non-reusable, non-recyclable. How many cups of Keurig coffee do you drink a day? Or do you think the U.S. drinks a day? That's a large waste of plastic going into the landfills. And I think I read one article that the Keurig inventor has regrets that he even did so in that type of fashion. The product that he has made is not of a sustainable nature. So again, look at the products. How are we going to make products that do not impact our environment and our future generations abnormally? I'm also posting a single page excerpt from The Necessary Revolution by Peter Singh. It's a short diagram that in which in his book he discusses 5 levels of sustainability, kind of where the companies are. I mean, you start at the bottom where the non-compliance until you get to the top where you have a strategy and a viable business incentive to operate in a sustainable nature. So I give you the figure. I'm not asking you to read the book. It is one of the ones that I've used in the past or one of my suggestions, but it shows kind of a hierarchy of how companies might move from a non-compliance to a more sustainable nature. And lastly, with the Bandag factory and other people have mentioned in various posts talking about employee engagement, whether you use the terms employee engagement or not, it still came through to me that you want people contributing, you want management to appreciate them. One of the three P's, profits, people, planet. How could you do that? And actions speak louder than words. 2 years I was at Deere on third shift. I got to experience their employee engagement, their evaluation system, and some changes they made. They went to Alcoa, now Arconic, and adopted a program, Human Performance Science, that Alcoa had for 5 years previous. It's kind of looks like a safety system for safety program at first, but when you see that what it is, it kind of benefits everything. Safety goes up, productivity goes up, employee engagement goes up. And as one discussion I had with one of the ops managers towards the end of my time there was that due to human performance, we had things that went to disciplinary hearings kind of dropped off. Disciplinary hearings were solely about attendance, not about other issues that were more properly being handled by the employees, the engineers, the workers at the proper level and being resolved. It was not a fight, it was an engagement. And I can say over the last year I was there, their surveys showed that they had a 20-point positive increase in employee engagement due to the fact of instituting this type of program. There are 2 PowerPoints under the supporting articles. Rob Fisher is one, and then there's another that about implementing human performance. If you want to know more information about it, or contact me and I can point you in the right direction for that. So I think that's about all I've got from your comments. Again, I appreciate everything you've put into it, and you're doing well. We'll wrap up corporate social responsibility and sustainability this week. But take a look at the websites that I've mentioned: Deere, Patagonia, H&I, and thank you very much. Have a good day.